Eventually, we'll get the camera on, and a very good evening to you. It's not Woodsy and KDog this week. It's KDog and the roller coaster ride. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the penultimate episode of this series of Oxsports Unleashed, and we got a show for you this evening. Thank you for joining us from anywhere, probably all in your gardens today. I would have thought, or having a barbecue. There's
or jacuzzis, as Darryl normally says.
Yeah, jacuzzis, swimming pools, maybe even in the walk-in fridge because it's a really warm day. Live sport outside has just finished, and that was an Oxford Downs cricket match. We are live at Oxford Downs Cricket Club. Coming up this evening on our show, we are featuring the Oxfordshire Charity Cup final. Whitney Town took on Yarnton up at Tame United's ground on Tuesday on a balmy evening at the ASM Stadium. Lots of goals, and I think some contenders again for maybe a couple of goals of the season in there as well. We've also got featuring Berensfield against Woodcote and Stoke Row in the North Berks League Cup final, which took place last Saturday. And we're going to have an interview with Harrison Ward, who is the new Oxfordshire white ball captain for this season. He's also a pro with Sussex. He signed a new 2-year deal, white ball deal with Sussex back in the autumn. And we caught up with Harrison a couple of weeks ago, and that's coming up as well, along with all our normal features and a bit of motorsport and our comprehensive results roundup, which will be the last one of the year. But we're going to crack on, and I'm going to hand over to Colin to introduce the first aspect of the day.
It is indeed right. Oxford City had their last game of the season until 24-25. It was away at Spennymoor Town. Our producer Patrick decided to drive his new car all the way up there for a stag do. He was there to witness a defeat, and here are the highlights, such as they are.
Field over on the left, which tells you about the history of the club and especially the recent successes they've been having, which continuing. But here come Oxford City down the right with Drew. He's picked up on a ball and he'll keep coming forward. Drew Scott misses it. It bounces to Ashby on the edge of the area. Ashby, good save by the goalkeeper James, and that's Oxford City's best chance of the game. Continue along into the final stages of this game. They've just about kept the ball in play here, and here is Rob Ramshaw. He's done well to beat his man, and he's found another Spennymoor shirt. Here's Mondale on the edge of the D, and he finds its way to another Spennymoor player. It's 1-0. We do have a goal, and eventually the ball bounces to the edge of the box. There's a muted celebration. I'm just waiting to see the number on the back of the shirt.
It's helping them, but it is opening the game up.
It is indeed, and you're talking about finding space. Oxford City are doing that now, and they've moved the ball well again. Drew into McEachran, it goes beyond him, but Ashby's there to pick it up, and Ashby! What a shot from the midfielder, what a save from Brad James, the Spennymoor goalkeeper.
I thought it was a really good, honest performance. I thought first half we were really good. We created enough chances to take the lead, but we conceded again at a difficult time, 43rd minute, I think. Yeah, really soft one as well. It's a bit of a lucky one. They've had a shot and we've blocked it, and it's fell to their player who's just stroked it in bottom corner. So that was a little bit unlucky. But we played some really good stuff today, and I think from the side you wouldn't have known who has been scrapped at the bottom and who's been floating around the top. I thought it was a real honest performance. It was an early start today. The boys have got up extremely early to get on the bus and make the journey, and big credit to those boys. You wouldn't have seen any sort of heavy legs or stiff legs or journey legs, we call it. So big credit to the boys. They roll their sleeves up, get on with it, and try and make it a good day. And I thought today we had a really good positive performance, and I thought was really unlucky not to score a couple. So disappointing we didn't, but we finished the season on a high. It feels good in there. The music's on. And it's a good time now to sort of reflect back on the last few months and a few games.
That was Ross Jenkins there chatting about Oxford City's final away game, or final game of the season, away at Spennymoor Town. A loss, but could have been a draw by the looks of it, Kieren. There's a strike on goal there.
Yeah, it could have been, and obviously they saved themselves a few weeks ago, and going to be a bit different next year with the new training regime in place. Interestingly, Reece Fleet and Lewis Coyle were both ill, so they actually didn't get a chance to play in their last game of the season, which was a bit of a shame. But no doubt City will be travelling up and down the country next year. Spare a thought though for Brackley Town, who I will just mention. I know they're South Northants. They've got promoted. They won the league last Saturday. Next season they have to go to Truro, to Gateshead, to Carlisle. So they've got a bit of travelling next year as well. So congratulations though to Brackley, because it was a terrific day. About 1,800 there, and they beat Farsley Celtic 5-1, and Southport did the job on Kidderminster. Right, we're now going to move on to our regular feature, featuring this young man here, Lyon Ryde, or as I like to call them, Compo, Foggy and Clegg.
Thank you.
And this is the brilliant roundup of all the grassroots sports football action from the last 7 days.
Yes, welcome to this review of last week's local football action with my two guests, Patrick Lock and Paul Lyon, who's back from his holiday in Naples. The very good news that Whitney Town are promoted, Paul.
Yeah, excellent news. First season back for Whitney Town. The aim was to gain promotion, either winners or runners up, and very pleasing to say that they got the winners spot in the division. And unfortunately, we never had a game to actually clinch it. It was all done in the committee room, because we got let down by a team who couldn't get a team out on Saturday. So we were awarded 3 points, which is disappointing. Not like Liverpool who go and win it at Anfield 5-1. That's what you really want for a league championship, isn't it? Yeah. But especially against someone like Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick's now whinging in the background. Okay, he's got his fingers in his ears, Paul. I can tell you that. Yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic achievement, and we did hear from the winning manager and captain last week, and that's coming up in Radio Charwood as well this Saturday afternoon. A fantastic result, and also unlike Whitney Town, didn't get to celebrate their last home game in front of fans. Oxford United did get to celebrate, having survived and beat Sunderland 2-0. Fantastic game, Paul, to stay in the Championship for yet another season, Paul.
Well, yeah, we've been talking about United for the last couple of months, how the running was difficult and will they get to 50 points to stay up? And it was going to be really hard considering who they had to play. But they've done magnificently, especially that some of the teams below them started to gain points in the last few weeks. And if United hadn't got those couple of wins, then it could have been all down to the last day, whether they stay up or not. But it's great that they've done it with games to spare, and beating Sunderland is an amazing achievement. And let's hope they can kick on again next season and make it a little bit more comfortable. But I mean, at the start of the season, I thought it'd be really hard for them, and they were one of the favourites to go down. So it's brilliant for Oxford United that they've managed to stay there.
Absolutely. Now, Patrick Lock has also been on his travels this weekend, up to Spennymoor to see the Hoops last game. They secured life in step 2, Patrick, even though they lost 1-0 to a title-chasing team, aren't they?
Yeah, well, not quite title chasing, but they were playoff chasing on Saturday. I mean, it was extremely unlikely, as I think they needed three teams to lose and obviously win themselves, but it didn't happen for them. I mean, they did win 1-0 with a goal just before half time, but City, in my opinion, deserve probably at least a point, if not more. I think City were probably the better team across the 90 minutes, a young team that was put out, and the Spennymoor keeper made 2 really good saves and a couple of other important saves. So who knows, on another day, City might have grabbed a point. But as you say, safety was confirmed a few weeks ago, and 14 points clear the relegation zone. So not really much to play for City, and can't really complain.
Okay, so Whitney Town are promoted, and both the yellow and blue sides of the city are secure in their respective leagues. But Paul, Brackley Town are National League North champions, following in the footsteps of Oxford City into the National League, Paul.
Yeah, well, Brackley have tried it for a few years, haven't they? But I think it took Oxford City to get there to make them push a little bit harder. I think, how many years in a row have Brackley been in the playoffs, Patrick? Is it 5?
I think it might even be more than that.
More than that, they keep getting into the playoffs and then blowing it, despite the fact they're one of the better teams in there. And I think it's only since Oxford City have done it, I think that's given them a kick up the backside and said, "Hey, come on, we should be doing this." But Brackley's not in Oxfordshire anyway; it's in Northamptonshire, so we're not that bothered. But look, the fair dues to Brackley, they've been knocking on the door for a long time, and let's hope they can make a good go of it. Especially as the fact that Brackley is such a small town. I don't know what the population of Brackley is, but they must be one of the smallest towns in the National League, and they've done amazingly well to get there. So hopefully they'll last a little bit longer than City did when we went up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough task. But elsewhere, Patrick Bab United are safe in the Southern League Premier Central Division. A 2-2 draw away at second place Kettering Saturday kept the Puritans in 12th place, Patrick.
Yeah, it's a good point, really, with Kettering looking for promotion. Banbury took the lead on about 15 minutes. Dan Jarvis scored, and then Kettering scored twice to go 2-1 up, but Ty Fleming levelled with 5 minutes to play. Didn't really affect Kettering. They were several points off the title, so that was well decided. So didn't cause them any distress. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid season for Banbury, who we're probably in a fairly similar boat to Oxford City, really, and we're looking for a consolidation season after their relegation from National League North last year. So yeah, they finished 12th on 57 points, almost equidistant from the playoffs and the relegation zone. So after talking a little bit about the distance from the relegation zone, again, like City, there wasn't really much danger of them falling into that area.
Okay, meanwhile, in Division South, Division 1 Central South, right, Didcot Town were also on their travels. They lost to a single goal away at Yates Town, Patrick. So a bit of a whimper towards the end of the season there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a theme coming up for a few teams about facing teams up at the very top of the division in their last game of the season. Didcot, they had the unenviable task of playing champions Yates Town, so maybe being defeated 1-0 wasn't too bad a result for them, really. It's a 26-minute goal, which was the difference. So yeah, it was a topsy-turvy season. They finished 11th, so there's never really any danger of them dropping into relegation zone and not really challenging the playoff zone. So again, maybe a consolidation season this year for them as well after their relegation. But yeah, no Jamie Heapy interview this week, but I'm sure he'll be fairly happy with a fairly solid season.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Paul, Tame United have been toying with the playoffs all season. They've just missed out by a single place after a 2-1 defeat at home to Division 1 champions Royal Bedford in the end. Blessing in disguise, do you think? Because would there have been a yo-yo club gone straight up and come back down again?
Yes, it's a tough one, isn't it? If you get to the edge of the playoffs and you just scrape in, are you going to be good enough to stay up if you go up? I don't know. Real Bedford are a good team, aren't they? To only lose by 1 goal against them is a good performance. But maybe it's another year for Tame in the division and consolidate, strengthen the team a bit, and then go up next season as champions or a little bit higher up the league. Maybe that might do them better. Sometimes it's not good to go up too soon. A bit like Oxford City when we went up to the National League. It was great to get there, but it was probably a season too early. We weren't expecting it, and then you've got to really fight hard to stay there. So sometimes it's better to stay down another season and just get another season behind you, a bit more experience, and then try and make a better go of it when you do get there. But who knows? It's who you come up against when you get there, and whether you get the players fit and the players gel together. So there's all sorts of things to think about. But Tame have had a good season, haven't they? And it's always a shame when you miss out in the last weekend, isn't it? By a point. You look back over the whole season, I think, my God, if we could have won that game, or if that referee had given us a penalty, or if that linesman hadn't flagged that, what could have been. But there you go.
Or if Jefferson Lewis had been 20 years younger, I suppose. Scored more goals. All right, so in the same league as Tame, then that league parts company with 2 of our other local sides as we say goodbye to Killington and Northley, both relegated, Patrick. And Killington put up a good fight, but really Northley was sinking without trace, weren't they?
Obviously, it's been well documented, hasn't it, this season about their struggles, and it's been tough for them. We're really only a couple of wins, and One of those was against Kidlington just last week. So yeah, it's been a lot of tough times at Northley this year. Their final game of the season was away at Dunstable, and there's another defeat, sadly, for them. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's struggles, but they've kept going, haven't they, throughout the season? And yeah, I'm sure they'll look to rebuild back in life at Step 5. So yeah, wish them all the best for next season.
Okay, Patrick, can you take us through what else was going on last weekend at the end of the non-league season, sir?
Well, we usually have quite a lot of football to review, but most of Step 5 finished last week, and well, Step 6 as well. So there's not much to look at. The only thing really was a small matter of the All Oxfordshire playoff final between Abingdon United and Wantage Town. And it's a huge congratulations to Abingdon United, who have returned to Step 5 football after 5 years away. They beat Wantage Town in front of over 1,600 spectators at the North Court. And we were talking last week about how it was a repeat of the Jack Badger Memorial game earlier in the season, where there was 1,500 spectators there. So really, really good to see that they've not only just matched that, but gone beyond it as well. So really, really good crowd there, particularly for a Step 6 playoff final. So really does show that football really is a key part of the community in Oxfordshire, doesn't it? Not just at the highest levels. It finished 2-0. It was a goalless first half, but early in the second half, Pablo Hocham struck to put them ahead, bundled home from a free kick, and then Anaclet Odiambo scored later on to seal the win. So yeah, I'd say it's five years since they got relegated during COVID from the Hellenic League. So good to see them back at Step 5. Can't say which Step 5 league at the moment, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussion at some point about which teams go into which leagues. So yeah, really good to see them back up in Step 5. There was a few games on Sunday though, and again it was the final weekend of the season for the women's teams as well. Oxford United women, they beat second place #United for their final home game. Nicole Barrett scored her first half brace, which was enough to see them to victory. It was a 5th place finish for the U's. So yeah, a topsy-turvy season for them, but yeah, good for them to finish on a high. Abingdon United's final game of the season was a 7-goal thriller. Molly Ligo gave Abingdon an early lead, and then it scored an equal after Keynsham Town scored an equaliser. Ligo gave Abingdon the lead again. Keynsham equalised again, but Mimi Hodges scored to make it 3-2. But that time, Keynsham scored twice afterwards to see them take it 4-3. So entertaining game, but sadly a defeat for Abingdon United on the final day of the season. For Oxford City, it was an Oxfordshire Women's Senior Cup final as they hosted Kidlington Youth. I say hosted Kidlington Youth. It was at a neutral venue, Tame United, so it wasn't a home game for either team. City came out on top of that game and won their 16th title, convincing 4-0 win. So an absolutely unbelievable number of Senior Cup titles for Oxford City across there. So 16 for the women and 35 for the men, I think. So yeah, it's rather dominant for City in those cups, I think. So it was 2 goals in either half for City. Emma Donoghue scored on the quarter hour from a long-range shot before Caitlin Crouch doubled the lead 5 minutes later. Into the second half, Ellie White scored a brace, including one from the spot, to complete the rout and the County Cup title. I'll hand back to you in a second, Colin, but before I do, we can hear from the manager, Connor Walton, who shared his reaction to the win after the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was definitely one of those, if you asked me 6-7 weeks ago what our project was from now to the end of the season, obviously one of them was obviously to go and win the County Cup final, along with obviously now we've done one job. We now make sure we then go and do the second job, which is obviously in a couple of weeks against Abingdon Devs. That's the whole point of what we wanted to try and do, is make sure we brought some silverware home from now to the end of the season. We've done one, so hopefully we can get double.
Obviously, you can't be celebrating too much considering the fact you've got a cup final next week. How important is it to ensure your players keep their heads of that game?
Yeah, no. So obviously they're going to enjoy tonight, which they thoroughly deserve. Obviously, it's all part of that end of season process now. But obviously they're training back in on Tuesday, Thursday. We get our preparation for a week Thursday when we're playing another final again. The girls will be great. They'll enjoy it every minute of it. They'll come in, they'll do the right things, and we'll get ourselves prepared in the best way possible, ready for Abingdon.
Obviously, you announced you were leaving earlier in the week. How emotional will the game be for you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely, to say the least, obviously, over the last couple of days, just sort of really sort of taking back everything, all the support on and off the field. And yeah, just a little bit of time to reflect and enjoy along with that, obviously now, but solely right now, it's not a last game. Obviously the aim is basically now we've got to go focus on ourselves and getting the job done in the best way possible, really.
Okay, that was Connor Walton, I think, talking to after that convincing win. Right, Paul, back to you, because I've witnessed the ups and downs with you at Oxford City, and I know that sometimes when the euphoria of promotion dies down, the hard work really starts to begin. So Whitney Town, they've been promoted. Does it come with the usual price tag of ground improvements necessary, or is it just simply a little bit easier when you go up in a lower league?
Yeah, for Whitney Town, it's not much of a difference. Going up to the next level, no changes to the stadium. The playing squad is good enough for the division we're in. Whitney wanted to be in the division above last season, but we had to start at the bottom. So we put a squad together that's capable of surviving the next division. So for someone like Whitney Town, not much to do next season. But for non-league in general, there's lots of things to consider, especially when you're at the semi-professional level. The close season, people think, the football season's over now, there's nothing to do, but it's the planning stage for next season, isn't it? And if you've got a grass pitch, reseeding the pitch, getting it ready for next year. If you've got a 4G pitch, is it going to pass the test? You have to get the pitch tested again every season. So Oxford City will be getting their pitch tested to make sure it still qualifies under the FIFA rules. You've got the AGMs coming up in June, where there could be some rule changes. Not usually many that affect clubs at these levels. But at the AGM, the divisions are announced, what teams are in what division. So you get to know who you're playing against, what your travelling costs are going to be. Imagine if you're in the National League this year and you've now got Truro in there, and they've got Carlisle coming down, haven't they now? Carlisle to Truro. There's one that's worse than that, though, isn't there? What's the worst one than that? There's one up near Newcastle in there to Truro.
Gateshead
to Truro. That's is it 16-hour round trip, that one? I think Truro will actually be better flying everywhere this year.
Right, probably cheaper than it. I know Leeds United, when they played Oxford United, they flew back to Leeds, I think so. And but there you go. Okay, so hopefully then we'll have a good summer. That's the last Lyon Ryde of the 24-25 season. Thank you so much to Patrick Lott and to Paul Lyon. Now back to the main studio for much more Oxford Unleashed.
That was a handsome fellow on that, wasn't it? Patrick.
Paul?
Yeah, Patrick and Paul, yeah. That, I think, if I'm correct in thinking, that's the last episode of Lyon Ryde for this series.
Yeah.
Because there won't be anything to talk about next week.
No,
There's no
true,
football going on.
Thank you to Patrick Lott and Paul Lyon for their support throughout this season. So, been good fun.
Absolutely. Just for those who are wondering where Darryl is, we didn't mention this earlier. He stood us up this evening. He has decided to go on a cruise of the Norwegian fjords up in the Arctic Circle. I bet you he's watching. I guarantee you he'll be watching. Probably our first ever viewer from Norway.
Yeah, probably right, yeah. A
little bit cooler up there, I would think, as well.
Absolutely.
Stay with us, because as we mentioned earlier, coming up a little bit later is the feature on Yarnton versus Whitney Town in the Oxfordshire Charity Cup final. Goals galore in that. But there were other cup finals at the weekend, weren't there, Colin?
Well, indeed. We now have action from the North Berks League Cup final, a 4-2 victory for Woodcote over Berensfield, and here are the highlights.
He was a goal scorer as well, so Woodcote, good crowd there at Abingdon United by the looks of things. It happened last Saturday. Nice little back heel for the first goal, and in it goes into the corner. Another good goal there. Zach Fanstone there firing Woodcote Development into the lead. Really good crowd again, isn't it?
Good
At Abingdon United. Good football, absolutely.
Brave goalkeeping.
Yeah. Here's some good tackle there from Berensfield, but just lost out there, and Fraser Sharples doubles the lead for Woodcote, who get themselves into a 2-goal advantage. Berensfield, though, they weren't going to give up. There's a lot of tackles flying in there, but it's going to be, probably by the looks of this, and maybe a 3rd goal for Woodcote, perhaps, as in comes a shot into the corner, bottom corner of the net. So 3-0 up. Sam Primmer with the 3rd goal for Woodcote Development. They're just down on the Oxfordshire-Berkshire border, aren't they? I've refereed down there before, a long time ago. Looks like Berensfield are going to bring themselves back into the game here. A little ball out to the right, and good control, and into the game. Really good standard of football. This lovely ball through and into the net there to make it 3-1, and that's Freddie Sparks with Berensfield's goal to make it 3-1. And Berensfield coming forward again, looking to maybe reduce the rears a little bit further, and that's what's going to happen. That looks like it might be a penalty. My referee's eyes don't deceive me. There you go. Look.
Oh, look at that. There
you go. That was a penalty. You don't lose it, do you, Colin, as a ref? So penalty for Berensfield here to, I presume, make it 3-2. Really good effort from the goalkeeper, though. Great penalty from Jack Hastings to make it 3-2 to Berensfield. So as I know what the result is, I can only imagine that the last goal we're going to see now will be coming from Woodcote and Stoke Row, and I'm thinking it will probably be Sam Primmer with the last goal, if my memory serves me correctly. Lovely ball across there, and Sam Primmer gets the ball into the back of the net. Defender they're not quite getting. In fact, it was Zach Fanstone with his 2nd of the game. So there you go. 2 goals for Fanstone, 1 for Fraser Sharples, 1 for Sam Primmer, and a couple of goals for Berensfield from Freddie Sparks and from Jack Hastings. Really good game of football, 6-goal thriller, and great to see these crowds, isn't it, in the lower levels. Just want to say a big thank you to all of our studious staff members. So Wes Spearman, Blake Bint, Patrick Locke, who I sang far too many praises last week, but his roundup of the lower league football has been absolutely phenomenal this season, and we'll hopefully continue that next year. Right, without further ado, we're going to now head over to Tame United's ASM Stadium for the Oxfordshire Charity Cup final. This was between Yarnton from the Oxfordshire Senior League Premier Division, who are looking like they're going to win the Premier Division title, and they were playing Whitney Town, who of course last week wrapped up the Division 2 Oxfordshire Senior League title, and lots of goals in this game. Keep your eye out for some absolute worldies, which I think some of these may be featuring in our goal of the season competition. So we'll run through the highlights, and at the end of that we've got an interview with the Whitney manager Ben Reardon, and also with one of the players for Yarnton, Tom Wynn. But we'll run through these highlights now.
First goal's a cracker, I think.
First goal is a cracker, spoiler alert, and it'll be that man Ryan Oliver again. This is definitely a goal of the season contender. A bit of a low sun. Chrissy Allen playing for Whitney at the age of 51 or 52, which is great to see. So here is the first goal, 30 yards out, bang, top corner. Terrific strike there from Ryan Oliver. He's pretty much having his own goal of the season competition himself this year. He'll definitely be featuring a fair bit in the competition, which we're going to unveil next week, and we'll run that competition through the summer so people can vote for your favourite goals. Thank you to Dan Smith, the cameraman, for this. Oh, look at that. Goalkeeper absolutely nowhere there. I think Zach McEachran at Oxford City scored a good one, but that's going to push that one quite a long way. Yarnton then came back into the game pretty quickly, actually, and Whitney were pegged back to 1-1 here. Another good goal coming up, maybe from 20 yards, not quite so far out. Good effort from the goalkeeper there to save it, but it was just a bit too powerful for him and it just went through his hands. But I have to say, the goalkeeper, Tom Bennington, was superb for Whitney. Despite the scoreline, which we'll see at the end, Tom Bennington was excellent, but that was another cracker. Really good goal Floodlights aren't brilliant at Tame, I have to say.
It got dark quick, didn't it?
It did get dark quickly, but this is the second goal for Yarnton, and this is about 10 minutes into the second half. Ball into the box, headed away, but Whitney not really clearing their area. And this is going to be another good goal. And it's another goal, I think, from the edge of the box, and there you go.
Yeah.
So 3 goals, all from 20 yards plus so far, and they keep on coming as well. So there's some really good goals to finish in this game.
It's a shame that they did lose Whitney Town, but this is a team which is a couple of leagues above them, isn't it? And
yeah, I was really impressed with Yarnton. I have to say they were probably the best side at that level that I've seen for a long time. I think they could probably hold their own at a higher level, to be honest. Have to say the crowd at ASM Stadium was fantastic as well. I think there was sort of more than 350 there. A lovely shot on the volley there to make it 4-1. And I think that's probably then when Whitney probably realised that their day was up. But they were 3-1 until about the 80th minute. The final score, as you'll see, was 6-1 to Yarnton. But the last 3 goals actually came in the last 10 minutes. But look at this, half volley, beautiful turn. Goalkeeper had absolutely no chance again. Are you impressed with these goals, Colin?
I am impressed with these goals, yeah. I mean, it's what, this is why non-league football is so entertaining.
Absolutely. That was a bit of a more routine one, a little flick on from the corner, headed into the net. I think that was Harry Ackland, who I know through cricket, who I used to manage and coach for Oxfordshire.
Now, you're now facing west, and both of us have reported for BBC from here. And if you get a westerly gale and a rain, you can get a bit wet and tousled, don't you, in this ground? But it's a lovely place. Tame is a lovely stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. About 5 minutes to go, then Whitney 4-1 down, bit of a miscontrol there, and this is going to be goal number 5, unfortunately, for Whitney. But again, it was another good goal, actually.
They've still got to work hard for it.
Yeah, it was a really good strike into the area, good control, and that was 5-1 to Yarnton. And perhaps Chrissy Allen, maybe...
You can be forgiven, though, can't you?
Control. Yeah, 51. I think you can be forgiven for that. He played the whole game. It was really warm. And it was, as I said, it was a terrific game.
He's still having a go, though. He's still trying to get back and do his job.
Yeah, it was a terrific game of football, actually.
Harry's trying to get forward.
He did. He got tackled well there, and this is the last goal. This was in stoppage time at the end of the game. So
still got a bit of control work to do.
Yeah, good control, onto his left foot, into the net.
Well. Okay.
So there you go. That was the final score. Yarnton 6, Whitney Town 1. Just have a replay of this, and we've got then the presentation. And the medals being given out to the 2 sides, and then we'll have some interviews with Ben Reardon, the Whitney manager, and with Tom Wynne. So this is the last guy, as I say, good control, onto the left foot, into the net. So the final score, Whitney 6, Yarnton 1. And here is the presentation. Whitney really cheered on superbly. I have to say there was a couple of really good performances for Whitney on Tuesday night. The goalkeeper, Tom Bennington, as I said, but I was really impressed with a young man, 17 years old.
Yeah, he was a good prospect.
Really good. Jacob Sapwell had a superb game for Whitney. And here are the champions. It's a really nice little competition, really nice cup, actually. And I had a look at all the names on it. And there are some big names on there. Oxford City have won it. Whitney Town have won it back in the day as well. And so it's a very historic cup competition, named in memory of the great Ray Mills, who I'm sure you'll remember. Colin, the former OFA chairman. Many years, and there are the celebrations. Afterwards, then we caught up with Ben Reardon and then with a player for the Yarnton, Tom Wynne. And those interviews are coming up now.
The season, you would win the league and get to a cup final. I guess you would have probably snapped my arm off for that, but today, I suppose, the better side did win this game in the end.
Yeah, exactly, Kieren. I feel like I've really mixed emotions, to be honest with you. I felt like winning the league, was absolutely unbelievable achievement, but always getting to a cup final, you never want to lose it. But I spoke to the lads just then and I said, look, we had no right to even be here. We've been a team for 8 months, and the side that we've just played are arguably the best side in the senior prem, and they have been for a number of years now. It showed real togetherness, but this isn't a 1-year project. It's a 10, 15-year project. And I just said to the lads, imagine what we can achieve with another pre-season, another season together. We regroup, we work hard, we've learned from Oakley, we've learned from the setbacks at the start of the season, and now we just learn from this. We had a lot of 16, 17-year-old lads that started and came off the bench today. It's a learning curve for them. So, you know, I'm really pleased with that. But, yeah, it's just disheartening for the scoreline because I thought it flattered them, to be honest.
So Tom Wynn, one of the successful Yarnton players. Tom, well played tonight. It was a really good performance. And I think you've shown the whole team just what a good side you are.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long season, and we've been working hard. And you know, just keep trying, keep working hard in training, and it's all come down to this really. Thought the boys played really well. Subs did well. Can't ask for much more than that.
I mean, you're top of the Senior League Premier Division, doing really, really well. So to potentially have now setting up a League and Cup double, it represents a great season for you.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, and it's been a long season. You know, we're getting to the point we're playing twice a week, every week. But yeah, it's not done yet for the league. Yeah, still got a bit to go, but it'll be good to enjoy it. Yeah.
And a word about the game tonight and the atmosphere, the crowd. You were very well supported. Whitney were well supported. It was a really good atmosphere.
Yeah, there's got to be a few hundred people there tonight, which obviously you don't always expect for thingy. But fair play to the Whitney lot. They were, you know, really loud, really vocal. You know, backed their team, didn't they? And same as our lot, they're always good for a cup final. You know, we've got 4 teams at Yarnton, and everyone behind the scene just worked so hard to make it such a great club. So
I felt that over the course of the game, clearly you deserved to win the game, 6-1 in the end. But actually, Whitney did play their part in the game, didn't they?
It might not be the fairest reflection of the scoreline, to be fair, because Whitney really came at us. They got some very, very good players, some good younger players, some good senior players, and I think we played some good football and tired them out, to be honest, and probably split them apart towards the end. But you know, fair play to Whitney. I was really, really impressed with them, to be honest. And they won the league as well, so you know they definitely deserve that. So fair play to them as well, yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tom, and good luck for the remainder of the season. You've got a couple of games left to win that league. I'm sure you will. Looking at that today, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, top man. Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Okay.
There you go, that's Tom Wynn there reflecting on a win.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
6-1 win for Yarnton in the Oxfordshire Charity Cup. I think they're going to go on and win the Senior League as well. They're 4 points clear at the top of the table, and they are a really, really good side. Right, we're going to change sports now. It feels like we should be talking about cricket, Colin, doesn't it? Because it's absolutely boiling out there today. And Oxfordshire had their first competitive white ball game of the season on Sunday. They travelled all the way down to St Just in Cornwall to take on Cornwall in the 50 over competition. They did really well to bowl Cornwall out for just 113, as you can see there, in 29 overs. But it must have been a pretty tricky pitch because Oxfordshire fared a little better and ended up being rolled out for just 94 in their reply. So a bad start to the season really for Oxfordshire, but there's plenty of time to go, and that's the very first white ball game, Colin.
Indeed, but despite the defeat, their new white ball captain Harrison Ford remains upbeat about the upcoming season, as you'll hear next in Kieren's chat with him.
So Oxfordshire's new white ball skipper for 2025 is Harrison Ward. He who has come through the pathway and signed a 2-year extension to his Sussex contract, white ball contract, back in the autumn. Harrison, first question. Obviously, mentioned that you were a pathway product for Oxfordshire cricket, so it must be quite a proud time for you that you're now skippering the county side.
Yeah, definitely. I've played for Oxfordshire now since the age of the men's team since 15, so it's going on 10 years now, and it's a very proud moment for me to be able to captain the side that's given me so much as a cricketer from when I was younger. So yeah, it's nice to be able to come back in the time that I've got and come captain Oxfordshire.
And you're taking over a white ball side from Johnny Cater, who obviously was skipper here for a number of seasons and had a really good record. And it's quite a legacy to follow, isn't it? Because he was instrumental in getting Oxfordshire to the sort of the top level of national counties cricket.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's nice taking over from Johnny because he's left the team in such a good place where it's going to be quite a seamless process taking over. Obviously, I've played under him for a while, learnt a lot from him as captain, and he will go down as probably one of the better players to have played for Oxfordshire. So his stats speak for themselves. And yeah, it's a privilege to be able to take on from Johnny.
And it's going to be big shoes to fill because, as you mentioned, not only was he an excellent captain, he was a terrific player for Oxfordshire, but looking at this side today against Oxford UCCE, you've got a side packed full of talent, new talent coming into the side, and it's an exciting time to take over as skipper of this side.
Yeah, definitely. It said that earlier that it's an exciting time to take over as captain. Kind of like said with Johnny kind of retiring, the people that I obviously started off playing with, they're all kind of long gone now, and it's kind of a nice nice group of experience and youth at the moment coming through. Some exciting people playing. There's a lot of local lads in the side as well, no matter where they're from. All local, obviously with a few lads from outside as well. But it's, yeah, like you said, it is definitely exciting to take over. Hopefully pass on a bit of experience that I've got onto the young lads, and hopefully keep producing players that go on to play professional cricket. And obviously as well, the idea is for us to be successful as well, like we had in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I was going to mention that professional cricketers that are abound from this county. We only have to look back, don't we, at the T20 Blast final last year. There was several players from Oxfordshire on both sides. Yourself, of course, in the Sussex side with James Coles, and then you have the Prices and the Taylors in the Gloucestershire side. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that Oxfordshire do produce top quality cricketers, and a number of these cricketers have gone on to forge really, really good careers for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. It was a pretty weird experience, actually. Obviously, finals day, probably the biggest day in domestic cricket calendar, and then to be playing against lads that you've grown up playing with for a long time. And obviously, you could argue that you could create a pretty nice Oxfordshire team out of just those two teams that were there. You also had Miles Hammond as well. A number of people in that game that are Oxfordshire products. So it's nice to see, and it's obviously on the circuit when you see people around. Obviously, there's things to speak about and memories there. But I don't see it changing. With Oxfordshire have done the stuff right for a very long time. There's obviously a number of other minor counties that produce professional cricketers, but we're right up there with probably one of the counties that are producing the most in the game at the moment, which is obviously really nice to see, and I don't see that changing.
And Harrison Ward, the player, you signed a new 2-year white ball deal with Sussex back in the autumn, so captaining your home county and playing for Sussex, it's a nice balance, isn't it? And I guess that balance for you will allow you to continue to play that top level cricket in the T20 Blast and the 50 over perhaps, and then come back and help to nurture the next generation of Oxfordshire players.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously with the contract I'm on at the moment, it allows me time, and I've done it for a number of years now where I've come back and played for Oxfordshire, and it's something that I love doing. It's something that helps me. It obviously prepares me going forward into the county season for when my cricket starts in the Blast. And also as well, like you said, now being captain, it's nice to be able to pass on as much knowledge as I possibly can onto the youngsters and the rest of the lads, and hopefully win some more trophies for Oxfordshire.
And you say youngsters, you're still pretty young yourself, 25 years old, I think, if I'm correct, and obviously lots of a big future ahead for yourself as well. But what are your hopes for Oxfordshire this season? We've mentioned the level of player that we've got at this county, and you presumably you want to be fighting on all fronts, T20 and the 50 over competition this year.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the last few years T20 cricket has been probably our strongest format. We've reached, obviously we won it in 2022, I think it was. So I don't see that being any different. Hopefully we'll still challenge and get through the knockout rounds and try and get to the final stage of the T20s. And then I think 50 over cricket it's been a tough one really, because we've always had struggled with availability in terms of that thing, and getting our strongest side out has always been tough. But with it now being at the start of the season rather than the middle, we should be able to give it a good crack, and there's no reason why this group of players can't be playing quarterfinals and finals cricket. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that challenge this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I think the whole of Oxfordshire would want to see. They obviously won the red ball championship a few years ago as well, but the white ball competition with yourself at the helm, a new captain, I guess a new era, although we've still got obviously Rupert as the coach, who's been coaching for as long as I can remember, and having him there, the experience that he brings and the knowledge of the game that he brings, that must be really, really good for the whole county setup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all those players that you mentioned before that would have played in those games would have played under Rupert. he's massively helped me and my cricket, and obviously I've been around for a long time playing cricket for Oxfordshire, and he's been around even longer. So to have that experience will not only help me in the past, but it'll help me now in the future as well. And as captain, to tap into the knowledge that he has of the game is obviously extensive. So yeah, he's been brilliant for Oxfordshire, and hopefully he'll be brilliant for Oxfordshire in years to come as well. I don't see that changing either.
No, nor do I, absolutely. Hey, Harrison, thanks very much. Good luck for the season ahead, not only for Oxfordshire, but also for Sussex when that season gets underway later in the year. It's a joy to have you back captaining your county, and yep, good luck for the season ahead.
Cheers. Thanks, Kieren.
Cheers.
Now then, of course, for the more observant viewers this evening, you will realise that was Harrison Ward and not Harrison Ford, as I said earlier. No relation to Star Wars Hollywood royalty, but there you go. We try and give you these bloopers, don't we? So, but
it's a little nod to Darryl because he loves his Star Wars. But actually,
Mm-hmm.
I think what you had in mind was Oxfordshire Next in Action this Sunday, which is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And they are hosting in the NCCA Trophy. They're at home and they're hosting Berkshire, and they are playing it at the beautiful Wormsley.
Oh yeah, if you've never been to Wormsley cricket ground, it's fantastic, right? It's a great place. Been there, what, 3 times I think?
3 times,
commentating.
absolutely. Double header actually for the bank holiday, because after hosting Berkshire on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, they are at home to Devon the following day, which is on the bank holiday, May the 5th, and that's at home to Devon again in the 50 over competition. So they'll be keen to put that defeat behind them against Cornwall and crack on with getting themselves up the table. Right, we're going to move on now to just talking about the other cricket fixtures and county championship games that involved Oxfordshire players. So James Coles, well, he did feature for Sussex this week against table toppers Nottinghamshire. He scored 37 and 16, but he was out both times to England seamer Josh Tongue. Ben Charlesworth, Miles Hammond, they struggled for Gloucestershire in their match against Leicestershire in Division 2, but Ollie Price flew the Oxfordshire flag with 43 in their close defeat. In the women's competitions, Flo Miller, she top scored from an Oxfordshire perspective with 19 for Essex in their defeat to Somerset, and Abby Norgrove, she was part of the winning Hampshire team against Lancashire this week, although she wasn't required to bat in that game because Hampshire comfortably defeated Lancashire. Oxfordshire women continue their winning ways in their new 3rd tier in the T20 double-header blast against Dorset, with wins by 59 and 69 runs respectively. 2 half-centuries for Sophie Grayson, a new signing for Oxfordshire, and also a 50 for the captain Amelia Bartram, and 48 for the Southern Viper Sophie Mitchell-Moore. Chloe Westbury, Katie Ward, Bartram and Grayson shared all the wickets across the 2 games. So a good start for Oxfordshire women, a less than auspicious start for Oxfordshire men, but plenty of time to turn that around. And thank you as ever to Blake Bint for putting together that little package of highlights there from the county championship games.
I'm looking forward to seeing James Coles play for Sussex against Hampshire.
Hopefully he scores lots of runs, hopefully.
Also, I'm looking forward to seeing him playing for a Hampshire side in the short form of the game. So it's quite good. You can see him quite regularly. So, but yeah, good luck to all of our local cricketers who are doing very well on what you could say is the sort of ECB pathway, really coming right the way through.
Absolutely.
The ranks.
So lots of Oxfordshire players from the pathway doing really well in first class and professional cricket, both men and women, which is brilliant. Right, coming up tomorrow, Chinner, who are going to really take centre stage now for the rest of the spring. They have another month to go in the championship, and on Friday, tomorrow evening, they are hosting Under the Lights Nottingham up at Kingsley Road, and they're always great atmosphere games on a Saturday, but Under the Lights at Kingsley Road, it's terrific. Tickets there available, as you can see, via that link there. You can go to @Chinner RFC Tame to get details on tickets for their home game against Nottingham. And there was some good news I heard a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they're not going to finish, I don't think, in the bottom 2 anyway, but it looks as though the championship are going to expand the number of teams next season, so irrespective of where Chinner finished, they're not going to go down, so they'll have another season of championship rugby in 2025-2026. Right, a bit of motorsport, Colin.
Indeed, there have been 2 good news revival stories in sport in Oxfordshire recently. Whitney Town's one, of course, but Oxford Speedway is the other one. 3 teams now race regularly at Sandy Lane. The Spires, though, went down to a very narrow defeat, 59-51 to Kings Lynn last week. So, but it's a great atmosphere, and certainly on a Tuesday night, I think it was, or Wednesday night, when Leeds United played Oxford United, you could hear the Speedway roaring in the background, like it was when I first came to Oxford. So, great sport, great atmosphere up there. So, good crowds again, and yet another Oxfordshire sport. A revival story, Kieren.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
great.
it is a really good night out to the Speedway. I've been a couple of times when they were Oxford Cheetahs back in the day with the legend that was John Gaisford from the Oxford Mail. So, it's really worth getting along to Sandy Lane to have a look at the Speedway. It's a good standard competition.
It is.
And, always good to see Oxfordshire sides doing well. If you've got any footage or anything you want us to include on Oxsports Unleashed, we only have one more episode of the regular series to go, but we do intend to come to you rather during the summer months with a number of shows and sort of clip shows and such like. So if you've got anything you want to send to us, be that football, cricket, rugby, anything that goes really, probably more cricket orientated now, you can send your clips to us at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. If you send stuff to us, we will endeavour to use it. Sticking to the motorsport in a loose sort of sense.
Loose.
We obviously featured Ben Cox quite frequently last year, the young man from Deddington who was competing in Formula Ford. Unfortunately, this season, due to sponsorship issues or lack of sponsors, he had to sadly withdraw from the Formula Ford Championship, but he isn't giving up the hope of returning to it, and he's keeping himself super fit during this close season, if you like, and here he is at the Spit and Sawdust gym. Maybe he's going to take up boxing instead, because maybe I'll be in the ring with Ben Cox at some point. I don't fancy that too much, but keeping himself fit and well, and hopefully Ben Cox will be able to get back into the cockpit on Formula Ford at some point in the
tell you what,
years.
Boxing as a sport is extremely taxing, and blue collar boxing especially. Tin Henman used to box at the Morton Boxing Club.
Yeah, he did.
And my lad was down there, and Henman reckoned that if you went 2 or 3 rounds with a good coach, it was more excruciating and hard work than a long game of tennis. So it's mentally exhausting and physically exhausting as well. So hats off to him. Yeah, he looks good though.
Throwing a few good punches there. Maybe he's going to change sports and get himself into the ring. But yeah, hopefully Ben will be back in the cockpit on Formula Ford at some stage. We'll feature him again next year. We'll try and get some sponsorship for him, because he is a terrific young man, and he was flying the flag for Oxfordshire in a pretty high standard of motorsport, wasn't he, Formula Ford? So
if you missed it, go back over previous Oxsports Unleashed. You'll see the Ben Cox interview is still there, on the YouTube channel. So he's a very interesting lad, and he deserves every success. Let's hope he's back in the cockpit soon, Kieren.
Definitely. And Rocket Ronnie, who we featured a couple of weeks ago in the go-kart, in the karting, he's back in action, I think, this weekend. So he had a bit of a nasty crash a couple of weeks ago, as we featured last week, but he'll be back in the is it a cockpit in a kart? I suppose it is, but another young man to keep an eye on, and we'll do that over the course of the summer.
He said that he gets up to about 70 mile an hour on the
I know,
go-karts.
unbelievable.
I mean, it
that
is
close to the ground. It's quite scary.
Do you remember he said that his coach tells him not to look at the ground, because you get too much of a rush at you, so you panic. But there you go. I
don't look at the ground when I'm in an aeroplane, because it's quite scary. So
good stuff.
We're heading rapidly towards the end of our show. We're going to see if we can hit it bang on the hour, Colin. So we'll just pad it out for 6 minutes. But we have now got, as you know, our next regular feature.
Results. Okay, so let's have a look at the results, which are just in, I think, in the drive. Producer's panicking.
No,
yes, thumbs up. Here we go.
Dan's got the results done for you. Here we go. All the results then from the last 7 days in the football and in the rugby.
Are you reading these, or we're not going to read these out?
Don't read these out.
On the screen.
Nice bit of music.
Any minute now. Any minute now.
There you go, that's the final comprehensive roundup of results for this season. There'll be a couple of results next week. Patrick set me a challenge to finish on the hour, so we're going to crack on now with the league tables, and the producer's now going to make them really slow, no doubt. Into the EFL then, Oxford United safe for another season in the Championship. They won 2-0 on Saturday against Sunderland, 17th place. They will fight again next year in the Championship. Panorama National League North, City finishing in 19th place above the relegation zone. They'll hope for a better season next year. Banbury United, mid-table finish for them. A 2-2 draw at Kettering on Saturday. Terrific final game of the season for them. Quick as you can, Patrick. Tame United just outside the playoffs. They have put up a real fight against Real Bedford, losing 2-1 in the end, but finishing in 6th place in Division 1 Central of the Southern League. At the bottom, as you know, Northley and Killington both relegated back to the Hellenic League. I'm sure they will bounce back, though. Final standings in Division 1 South. Big Town 11th, mid-table for them, 57 points, a 1-0 defeat on Saturday. We haven't got long left, and Patrick's laughing his head off because he's not going to get it done. Oxford United, 5th in the Southern Division of the Women's National League, 42 points from 22 games. Abingdon United, 9th. 21 points from 22 games. And
yeah, just 2 games on Saturday. Swansea City versus Oxford United away there, and Oxfordshire FA Senior Cup at the M Group Stadium. That's Oxford City's ground. Ardley versus Tame United. Tame United, I think, are reigning champions.
They are 2-time champions. The kick-off time for that actually is 2:30, not 3 o'clock, but that's not a problem. We'll be on air for coverage of that game as well. And that, Colin, just about wraps things up for another week. We've got one more week left. Thank you so much to everybody for watching again this week. Darryl should be back next week. He has his England trial when he comes back from his cruise as well. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, wherever you've been watching this evening. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week for the final episode of this series of Ox Sports Unleashed. In the meantime, thank you again. It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
See ya.